Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Infinifactory. Once again I find myself in the mood for some more puzzles. Been really loving this second chapter of the game, it's good to be playing it again. And just wanted to mention at the beginning of this video, if you want to show some love and leave a like on the video, that would be great. As always, thank you so much for your support and I do hope you're enjoying Infinifactory. We're doing another puzzle obviously. We're not going to do this one, it's very difficult. And I think at one point I might come back and attempt it again, but we're going to do the solar cell array, which will unlock the last one. You only need to do, I think, is it 5? Yeah, 5 of the 6 that come with the laser blocks. So we're going to be doing the solar cell array. And I've already had a look at this because I wanted to decide which challenge we were going to do to unlock the next one. And that looks relatively simple, doesn't it? I mean, at least the shape of it is going to be easy to construct. Now, the shape of that thing over there makes it look even easier, as all we've got to do is create a single little platform that's going to come out. So that's going to be a relatively quick and easy thing to set up. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's where the thing is going to sort of rest. This is going to be where we cut it off. So we detect it over here, and then we cut it off over there. Something like that, but for now, I'm not going to stress that too much, because what we might want to do is lock it down in that position until the rest of our items are ready. And this is where things might get a little bit trickier than it looks, but we've got to make those little pillars. I just had an idea and then realised it wouldn't have worked. So initially I was looking at this and thinking, okay, what we're going to do is use the eviscerator on the middle row, and then we destroy these blocks on either side to break them up. But the thing is, they're already in groups of 3, and if we could rotate them vertically, like this, then they would be absolutely ideal. Now, I haven't seen anything that rotates vertically, and I think I need to double check everything here. There is no way to rotate it like that, is there? It's just left or right, and there's no up and down. Unless there's some sort of special thing installed in this level, which I think is highly unlikely. They probably would have alerted us to that if it was the case. There's also no little introductory message as well, so that's the thing. So I think this is going to be quite simple. We're going to have... Can we have them pointing into that bit? That's fascinating. Yeah, and then we've got to break those ones up. But we want to do it in a precise way. And how are we going to achieve that exactly? I think what we want to have it do is when it drops down, we want to break the one... Like I was thinking, you detect it at one height and then it drops down. So... if we were to detect it at this height while it's dropping and shoot across, it should be a relatively safe way of breaking them up. So that actually sounds really good. So we would have a laser here, but it's not going to go until the sensor next to it has detected something. Those blocks would need to be held up. That might literally be it. Oh, there we go. Have we like separated it into 4 bits? Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so that's very compact and all in one spot, which means we can move these out. Now, it might be a good idea to move all of this back and have one conveyor belt in the middle just to save on blocks the amount that we're using, which is something I might do. But for now, we're going to think about how can we assemble these together. And I think it's a case of actually just putting them onto one conveyor line. So maybe we'll keep them all in this area. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see how that works. Right, they're going to come out nice and steady, which is good. So we're going to drop them down and turn them somewhere around here into groups of 3. And then we're going to have to push those groups of 3 into this position, which I think is going to be the trickiest bit. This is going to be a game of logic, maybe. Actually, I've kind of got like an interesting idea. So everything is level over here. Let's say we make it a game of timing. We bring this out over to this area at the correct time. And let's say we build our platform 5 across. So it's going to rest in that position. This is going to be the height of our metal at the bottom, and then above it we want those groups of 3. Now I'm thinking that we'll end up using the opposite of the piston. Let's actually chuck that in there, the blocker, which extends. So we would have one right there, one over here. Actually, now that I say it, that might not work because we need one in the middle. Unless the one in the middle is the last one and there's a hole there. That might work. So bear with me. These are going to extend, and then there's going to be like a platform around that. Actually, this isn't going to work. I was picturing having conveyor belts, right? Go over these gaps and then they retract. Actually, that would work. It would just need the conveyor belt to go in here. So this is going to be extended. No, that wouldn't work. It has to go the same way as the one behind it. So if there was one of these here, and it was extended, then the first one would rest in this spot, and the next one would push it along. So if we had like a roundabout effect going on, which may or may not be possible, then when the last one goes in the middle, we leave a hole, because we can't get one of these in there, I'm assuming. And then it just detects it arriving at the top with a sensor. It lets them all drop down by using the retract. And do you know what? I don't think we even need these. Let's simplify things a little bit. There's our platform. Let's just pretend that's the platform. And then here's our solar panel on top. What if we just had these things here at that place, not over there? Then the first one falls in and the next one goes over it. And then when the last one goes into place, we detect it at the top, and that's when we move it along. We've also got to weld it to the thing at the bottom. Oh, this is actually really tricky, isn't it? But I like that we're thinking about these. So how do we weld the one at the very bottom there? Because I don't think there's any way to weld it by it being nearby. I think you've got to split this into two platforms. And now the difficulty of it is revealed. Oh dear. Okay, I'm setting up all of this, and I've got a solution to the whole welding thing, which is basically to build it in two parts. So we bring in one, we lift it up by one block, which is why there's that thing there, and the reason so it can slide underneath all of the welders. So over here we would break it up into two sections. The following one would just have, you know, another little setup here, and when the last one goes along, then they get pushed out, and then they get welded together over here. They go around the corner and go into there. Problem is, these things have an unusual behaviour. I think this is a bug, or am I missing something? But watch. Right, now it's stuck there. Now these blocks are falling down, and these ones aren't, and there's nothing blocking this that I can see. Other than that it's between two blocks, and maybe that affects it somehow. Why does that stop there? I don't get it. Maybe what we could do is just rotate one of those and see what it does now. See, now it falls down all the way. So what is it? Does it want to rest on top of the beam? Is that blocking the way? We need to turn that one back. Maybe it stops on top of the beam. No, it's stopping above where the beam is. Right. That has got to be a bug. Like, why wouldn't you go... Oh, it's because of that thing. That's actually quite easily solvable. Alright, so... It's good to record and talk about it, because now I see my shortcoming. Okay, and that shouldn't affect the one up there. So I removed a block from here, didn't I? No, I removed it from there. That's going to hold the platform below up, which we actually need to have in place early on, don't we? Which makes this all a little bit trickier. I don't think it can even get over there in time. I sort of pictured holding this back. Okay, let's watch it again. So it's not even going to get close, is it? So we may want to do more of this assembly back over here. Right. Ah. Okay, so sort of going back towards an original idea, there were a lot of things that I could have done here, mainly moving this all the way over there, but then I thought, you know, this thing comes out so slow, is it really going to help? And it may be so that we do actually need to move it back over here, but by using these, like we were originally going to do, we got the similar desired effect. So they sort of wait in place. Now if we pause this and consider, that's a point where we would want them to drop. Oh god, the timing here is going to be ridiculous, isn't it? Maybe we have to use some sort of sensors and a little piston over here to hold it back when they're in the right position. But if we look over here, this thing is full up. So I'm hoping that the journey over there and the timing of these going into the next bit, I'm confident we can get it to work. You know, I've learned a lot playing this game, and although there's always things you overlook and you learn as you play, we're definitely getting better at solving these problems. Okay, where were we when we last recorded? Can't remember, but I came up with a solution for this over here. Initially I thought something else would tell these lasers to shoot so we didn't destroy the ones after it, but of course if we hook them up to pushers, they'll push them off the track, and then they'll be split correctly. So they go across, then they go back into here. We then have this little circuit to delay the second one from following in, and then this thing here blocks it from going in when the other one is in place, which works fine. But then I realised we need to raise the next one up by a block as well, which means this thing here, if we were to put it in the path of where the second piece comes down, it's going to raise the first one, which means basically it doesn't do what we want it to. So I think the way we're going to pull this off is by over here, where this one is. We're actually going to put that, let's see, this thing is 5 blocks wide, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's then going to be over here, and I think that we should pull it off onto a different set of things like that. So let's see if that works. Looks good. Right, excellent. So now that means that we can bring this across over to this place again, and that we can basically build the same thing again, but just for this. Okay, I feel like we're very nearly done here because the timing looks really good. So let's do this thing. Let's fast forward it, and then we're going to pause it a couple of times. Okay, so the first time is there. They've been separated. These things are still coming around. Oh, by the way, what I built here is pretty much the same sort of system we've got going on that side, so don't worry about that too much. Let's resume. And now the two below go into place. And then watch what happens up top. This one drops down, and the detector activates the rest of them. Now, I made a mistake here because initially I thought this detector was going to see that they've been joined together and then, you know, push these out. That's going to run on a separate timer or detector, I think, which will probably rely on one of them that dropped down the back here. Oh yes, and the timing of it. Look, it looks like they're going to be directly in the middle. So let's watch it in action. Yes, we still get a full set. That's fantastic. And then we shouldn't have any other issues really, because now these are just going to steadily back up again. Okay, so we would detect when this one has arrived and then use it to push these on their way. So when they get pushed off, they then need to go onto some conveyor belts, which should be relatively easy to position. One here, one there. We bring them out, we weld them together over here somewhere. That means that... Oh no! They can't be moved... Oh. This game is so cruel. It is so cruel. I guess we have to raise everything by 1 block. That was a silly mistake, and I think it's not too difficult to fix. We raise everything by 1 block, but it would then mean over here we'd need to change this slightly, or would we even? Because, yeah, if you look at the height here, you can put the conveyor belt there. It doesn't need to fall down. Okay, we'll raise everything up by 1 block and I'll solve the problems I just described. Okay, next problem shouldn't be too difficult. We've been relying on that to hold it up, so this doesn't push out because there's a block in the way. And I think it might just be as simple, and if it is, I think this is brilliant. Just changing that type there. Let's do the same thing over here. Change it to, so it's extended. Then remove that and that. That looks good. That looks good to go to me. Also, it wouldn't really matter. In fact, just a block there would do the trick. Oh, what was that about? I don't know how that got there, but it just occurred to me that a block in the middle would actually do the trick. We don't need one of those extended things. So that can go just there. Okay, so the problem was that this... is in the way. So what, we move it to the side, but then it's going to get activated every time these go past, which means I don't know. I think we're going to have to mess around with the timing with where it falls down. Now, it didn't work when we detected it at this height right here. The timing wasn't quite right. We may have to mess around with some other things elsewhere to get the timing correct. But what if we were to just put it there and detect it as it drops down a moment later? Okay, so here it comes. We're going to get lucky? Oh, that looked really bad. No. Okay, the problem is also duration, because when we put it in this spot, it sort of opens for a moment, but not long enough for them to fall down. So the reason that it worked down the bottom here is because it stayed there for long enough for them to fall down. The thing is, then didn't they then sort of stay open? I feel like I've overlooked some things here again. Okay, so let's speed that up. That's the one that sort of worked until we realised it didn't. So it's going to drop down. Right, now they stay open. and then one's falling from above. Yeah, there's some serious timing issues going on here. Okay, this almost worked if it wasn't for the next one's getting pushed down in there as well. So I'm thinking some sort of like break at the back or something that extends on the track might be it. But the way that we did this is I thought about what's going to happen once these fall past this. The signal's going to go off, so we can extend it by sort of detecting the one at the end, which is what we did. But it still didn't quite work. However, we got all of this. So I'm wondering what would happen if we put some blocks across the middle here, like so. Would that really help in any way? Probably not. But we'll try it anyway. And we'll see what will happen. Okay, putting blocks in the middle doesn't work because of the height difference. It means that these will push the blocks over when they've fallen down far enough and put them in the middle. So I think now what we're going to have is a combination of having an extension over on this side. Oh, by the way, there were some issues with these ones. I tried to solve it with that, but it applied to all of them. So I think we're going to try and extend now the duration. So we have like the initial timing here, and then it holds it for a little bit longer because this one's in position until it gets pushed away. And we also want to hook these up now to some pushers that are going to sort of extend and block them. So I think the places they're going to need to be is here, so it's before any of them go over to this side. Over on this spot, maybe there. That doesn't quite work, does it? And then over the front here as well. And that's just a guess. I might have gotten that completely wrong. So finally it works. We've got our two pieces here. You can see all we've got to do is weld them together and send them on their way. It's going to be so easy from this point out. So yeah, those two are correct. I'm not sure if that one was 100% necessary. This one over here needed to push out like this because the block was in the middle of the track. Otherwise it sort of pushed it onto that platform, which actually doesn't need to be there. So it's going extremely well. I think the next time you see this, we're probably going to have it sussed out and finished. Okay, this has been a very fun puzzle to solve. And I kind of wanted to comment on everything. I don't know why, I wanted to sort of go back over everything we've seen, but you probably understand most of it. And it's come together ever so well. I do like it. Anyway, let's speed this thing up. Let's see it in action. So around go the blocks at the top. And by the way, I haven't seen this like finished yet. I just figured there was nothing else to do. Yep, so that was acceptable. And the only thing really is if, you know, there's some sort of backup or delay issue, but there doesn't appear to be one. And that's it. I think we sussed it out. So over here is where we weld them together. And then they go across over there, drop down and go into the thing. I can't wait to see my score on this one. I feel like probably could have been a little bit more efficient, but I reckon it's going to be a good score. So 4 more to go. This thing is ever so cool. And also it seems like the output here is balanced to the input. So the fact that you had to break those two blocks was probably the logical thing to do. And as I say that and come back out here, something's gone wrong. Oh no, it messes up after a certain amount of time. Oh no. So everything was going absolutely fine. Then after a certain amount of time, this thing stopped, or at least arrived late, and it seemed like it had slowed down. So let's speed up, and I think what we'll find is that the timing here is good for the first one. It arrives nice and early, so it arrived as this one was at the second spot. That's going to be sort of different this time. Second spot again. The timing seems sort of very similar there. We should see some sort of discrepancy emerge at some point, like maybe the timing gets a bit more precise. Oh, it could just be ever such a slight amount. Yeah, it's getting ever so closer and closer. This one will probably arrive right as they drop. Yes. So our input over there is a little bit too fast for it. Bam, and then it's going to miss one. Oh no. Well, I think our solution for that might be a little bit cheaty, because the timing here is obviously not good enough. I'm just wondering if we create a little bit more of a buffer over here, would that help in any way? Would that help erase the timing issue? Okay, that's just about done it. One of the next two will fail. So we know that there's actually an issue with that, even though we finished it. And the score was relatively good. Would have been nicer to be on the higher side of the block score, I think. But there you go, that's going to be it for this one. As always, if you enjoyed it, leave a like, and in the next one, we can go onto the Atropos station. And we get 2 new blocks, which is going to be very exciting. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.